Hello and welcome to the AART Podcast with me, Chris Stafford. My guest this week is the Canadian artist Erin Rothstein, whose paintings are centered around food and fashion for the most part, using what she calls a minimalist aesthetic to enhance the pop culture of her signature hyperreal technique. Would that be accurate, Erin? Do you stick by that?
I stick by it.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you in the frozen north of Toronto?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm as good as I can be in this gray landscape. But I'm
It's
good.
been
I'm hibernating.
You're hibernating. You've got the log fire going on behind you there. So you look as if it's pretty cozy, but it's been, you were telling me, a pretty long winter for you.
It's been a long winter, but it fosters creativity. I love going with the seasons and kind of hibernating. So my studio is very cozy.
And how much time do you spend in your studio? I mean, I know you've got 4 children. You've got a husband and 4 children. You've got a pretty busy domestic life. How much time do you actually spend with your art?
I spend many, many hours a day in the studio. Even when I'm not creating, I find it's just like a creative haven, which sometimes looks like doing nothing. Just like sitting and resting here and waiting for inspiration, or just painting all day. But yeah, I'm in here like the typical workday hours, and sometimes at night whenever inspiration calls.
And do you find this is, I mean, we call it work. If you're a full-time artist, often people regard it as work. But do you regard it as work, or is it somewhere that, you know, that's also therapeutic?
It's both. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's neither. I think it's definitely my calling, and it's my calling first. It can't be only work. But sometimes it is work because, you know, I think inspiration and passion also requires structure, and I'm a very structured person, and I think I marry those two things well. So sometimes it feels like only work, but the underlying passion is always there. So I think it's a dance of those two.
Yeah. And do you consider yourself someone who's like super attentive to detail in your day-to-day life? Because the amount of detail you have in your work is extraordinary, you know, that requires a lot of patience. Is that who Erin Rothstein is as a mum and wife?
It's part of me. Yeah. It's part of me. I have a lot of parts. I think I'm definitely very detail oriented. That's for sure. I think I can really sink myself into the layers of something and notice the details in every single layer of progression as something gets built, as opposed to seeing one whole finished thing. I can see the parts and the details that make up those parts. And I can focus myself on those details. And I think that is how I come at parenting and, you know, all of my interactions in general. Yeah.
I'm wondering then what you do for fun, because that will tell me, where do you relax and what kind of hobbies and things would you enjoy that takes you completely away from your art?
That's such a good question. I've been actually sinking myself into that quarry in the last couple months. So I can tell you, I think what takes me out of that zone are activities that feel really grounded. Music. Mm-hmm. I love playing piano and singing very loudly. I think it just like removes some kind of like attentiveness. And it just makes me feel very free and puts me right in my body. Cooking. Same thing, like just, you know, making things with my hands. I think art does that too for me, but there's less perfection in cooking, at least the way that I do it. Like I don't follow any recipes. It's very intuitive for me. And I love, I guess, alongside cooking, I love eating.
Yes.
I get a lot of joy from food, as you can see, but like just the experience of eating also puts me into my body. And my kids, like parenting, somehow in parenting, even though I approach it with this like I guess the details and all of that is part of it, but there's something just like intuitively there for me that gives me this like embodied, grounded joy. I'm sure there's lots. I like to have fun, but those are and working out.
And working out. Can you be a rebel? Is there a side of Erin that would be a complete surprise to us?
I think I am a rebel.
Yeah.
I think I'm organically a rebel. I'm a quiet rebel. I think I've always been a quiet rebel. Like, I'm not a loud person. I've never, in elementary school, like in my whole youth, people used to think I was very, very quiet. I remember my parents would get called into the school about it. But I was like, what are they worried about? Like, I don't understand. I don't have anything to contribute, and I was just taking a lot in. But I think that was like almost my quiet rebellion. Like, I don't feel the need to just like participate because everyone else is participating unless I really have like value to add, which I didn't at that time because I was a kid and I was just like learning. So yeah, I think I'm quite rebellious in that I'm not a joiner, and I really do things differently, even when it's like very subtle. I do things the way I want to do them, and I think of my life as kind of the ultimate creative act. So I would say it's a quiet rebellion.
Is there a stubbornness in there?
Yes, I'm very stubborn. I'm very stubborn. But I'm stubborn, but I come around. Like, I think I'm not inflexible. I'm actually quite flexible. But sometimes later, like, I need to come to things on my own terms. I'm not easily led, but I am easily inspired. So I think sometimes even when my team is like, we should do things like this, and I'll just be like, no. But then one day later, I'll be like, oh my God, that was such a good idea. So, you are
negotiable.
I'm negotiable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what your horoscope is. You're born in May 1986, right? So what would
I'm Taurus. I'm Taurus.
You're a Taurus. Oh,
I'm a pretty classic Taurus.
That would explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to your music.
I'm a Taurus with a lot of Aries energy.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's an interesting combination. Yeah. If we can go back to the music, because if you're a singer, I'm wondering if we were to do car karaoke, what you would be singing.
Oh, and that's also a great question. I love like old timey music. I love like Sinatra. I love like Gershwin.
Okay.
But I love singing like Beatles and like Dylan and like the Wicked soundtrack and a lot of like show tunes. I'm kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do the children react to that then? You've got 2 boys and 2 girls, so they've all got opinions on music probably by now. How do they feel about mum singing in the car?
Well, I asked them. Oh, it's not in the car. It's everywhere. I've asked them how much trauma I've caused, and they say they're good. So stay tuned. But okay. No, they know me. I think they like it on some level. They're all different, but they're all very musical, all of them, and we do a lot of dancing in the kitchen. My boys will murder me if that comes out on the internet. They're not really involved. It's more my daughters are really into it. But all my kids are super, super musical, and they have beautiful voices. And so I think they come by it honestly.
And you learned the piano when you were young?
Yes. I took lessons. I did like Royal Conservatory. I'm not amazing at piano, and I'm not an amazing singer either, just to be clear. I think it just brings me a lot of joy, and I do an okay job. Right. Yeah, it was something that was very structured when I was a kid, and I think now it just brings me a lot of freedom.
Yeah. It's liberating, and it's a way to express yourself, as you say, which is a complete contrast to your artwork.
Kind of. It's just a different way, a different medium.
Do you have to have music while you're working?
I very rarely listen to music while I'm working. I actually, this is going to sound very uninspiring and maybe backward, but it's true. So just go with it. But I actually I have the TV on in the background with shows that I've just like watched before. I find it anchors me, because I think painting and like all the art I make kind of brings my soul into flow, and I find to balance that with some kind of structure. I have the TV on in the background for some kind of like groundedness and somewhere for my brain to kind of just like rest and land where it doesn't have to do any work. And the combination of those two things just allows me to kind of work a 10-hour day or whatever it is without floating into space. To get really like specific and candid, like it's often like Gilmore Girls or like some like dumb charming show.
But shows that you're familiar with, so you don't have to watch them, you can listen to. Yeah,
I'm not like watching, I'm not like engaged. It's like movies like I'll put on Sleepless in Seattle or like When Harry Met Sally or like some favorite movie of mine that I just like know by heart, that it's not pulling my attention, it's just anchoring me.
Well, you're not the first guest to have told us that's what they play in their studio.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, we've had a guest who does exactly the same thing. It shows that she's familiar with, and she just wants them playing in the background. It's kind of the soundtrack of her studio life. It's interesting how that transports you in a way, but also grounds you. So it's a background.
That's so interesting. I'm very sensitive. So I think the art is so alive for me that I think I just do require that. It's sort of that like yin yang, like I need that grounding from somewhere else, or else I'll I'll float away.
And is anyone allowed in your studio while you're working?
Not while I'm dialed in, not while I'm like in flow with my art. And if somebody does come out, my kids know, everybody in my house knows, it's like, not now. Sometimes they do it with the hand, just like, but they don't take it they understand. They're certainly allowed in the studio, and I can also easily, take a break and come in and go out of it. But, and I'll let them too, like sit and paint on my lap, like on my paintings carefully with my guidance. But I'm not dialed into my art in those moments.
So do you're encouraging your children to the art? How interested are they in your art and actually having a go themselves in some form?
I think they're interested in my art. I don't make a big deal of my art in front of them. I think they know that I have a career, and they hear about it from the outside. I think like they're on the internet now, and like their friends' parents, might have it in their homes or whatever. I try and keep that. I really think of that as like the ego part of things, which I don't take too seriously, even though it's like fun and it's necessary. I try and keep that like very separate from them. So, I think they're interested, but I try and keep the focus on their own passions and their own drive. They're all amazing artists, and they were born like that. Just like I was born with my own artistic inclinations. Like they are too, and it has nothing to do with me teaching them anything. It's amazing. Like it brings them a lot of peace to have a paper and a pencil in front of them. Like they just go somewhere and they're dialed in, and all their teachers have called it out. And I rarely do anything artistic with them. Cause I just want to let whatever comes out of them, I want to let that happen. So it's just happening naturally. It's wild.
Yeah, just leave their mind alone and they'll come at it organically.
Yeah.
Was that your experience as a child? When were you first really conscious of your interest in art as a small child?
No, that was not my experience really. But in some ways. My mom is an amazing artist, and her whole lineage is made up of artists, and we all have the same skill. It's all the same kind of art. So I was always made aware of that. And that being said, I think I really had my own, like my kids, like this came out of me very naturally. I think then my parents, and specifically both my parents encouraged it. I think my dad, can't draw at all, but he was very like morally encouraging. But my mom really like enabled this and would sit and show me, like this is how you shade, and this is the caliber of like, she would buy me all the professional pencils and paints, as I do for my kids too. Like she get me a portfolio, like she set me up to take it seriously, and I set them up to take it seriously. But I think it was like my upbringing in general was a little bit more structured in that way. I think we have a little bit of a different parenting style.
So what did you learn from that then, from that parenting style and your access to the art at a young age, and how it sounds as if it guided your pathway into adulthood to become a professional artist? Was that a singular track for you? Was it a silo experience?
It guided me in some way, as in just as all of our childhoods guide us in some way, I think it was a singular track, although for a time I thought I was going to be a psychiatrist, only because both my parents are doctors, so I just thought I would too. But then reality set in, and I realized that that is my nightmare. I'd love to be a psychiatrist. I just would hate to go through medical school. I can't look at blood like in any capacity.
Okay.
So that's not happening. But
so if the children have an accident, then and they're bleeding, then
it's Sam.
Okay.
If they have an upset stomach, it's me.
Okay.
We have a good division of labor, but I think no. But of course, I'll deal with anything I have to. Parents, we all step up. But I shouldn't ever be a doctor, and I will not. But no, my upbringing, I pretty much always knew. And when I was like 16, I remember I had to decide on certain courses, and I was like, okay, I can see I'm not going to pursue sciences, and I'm going to pursue fine arts. I had to sign up for CJAP in Montreal, and I signed up for fine arts. And everyone was like,
CJAP?
Oh.
For those of us that south of the border.
Sure. Yeah, it's like college, which is high school goes until age 16, 17, and then you, instead of going right to university, you have 2 years of CJAP, which is like pre-university, post-high school. So it's very much like university, except it's all in one building, but you choose your own courses, and otherwise it's university basically. And then we do one less year of university. So I decided on fine arts, and everyone was like, oh, finance. And I was like, no, fine arts. And they're like, oh, really? Like, what are you going to do with that? And I think there was just so much doubt and so much, people were so protective of me. And it just fired something up in me that was like, I got this. Like, I trust myself with this, and I know what I'm doing. And I think in general, there's a lot of doubt and worry on the path, of fine art as your career. And, rightfully so, like I understand it, but I think when there's that much fear and doubt, it can, you can cause the thing you're worrying about. And I think this is where my rebellious side kind of always came in, was like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it. And I did. So
quietly focused then. Got your head down, a little bit stubborn, but a little bit determined to prove your point that you could do this. This could be a career. And you went to Dawson College. And how was that experience for you then? Was it everything you hoped for?
It was everything. I loved it. It was delicious. It was very different than my friends' experiences, because you get to, first of all, it was my first taste of independence, because I was living at home still, but, you know, you're like, I was taking the subway to school and the metro in Montreal, and you're on your own schedule. And so in fine arts, you're like, I had this big portfolio. I could like wear, you know, people would wear these like ridiculous, like artsy outfits. And I just like leaned all the way into it. Like it just felt so creative and free. And you also like, I just felt like I was excelling there, and I felt recognized. And then in addition to making the art, you have these critiques where you put all your work on the wall, and we would like, you know, at the legal age, we would like drink wine in class and like critique each other's work. Like it was so cool. I loved it.
And you made lots of friends. Did you develop, you know, quite a strong social circle at that point?
I did. It's funny you ask. I don't know if she'll see this, but I went in pretty antisocial, and this is my stubbornness. I had a nice circle of friends, and I'm still friends with them. And I went in being like, I'm not here to make friends, which is often like how I will go into things like that a little bit. And this girl in my class we were at the market, like drawing apples, because that was part of our curriculum. And she was small talking me. And I think I said to her something like, I'm so sorry. I just like, I'm really not here to make friends. And she was like, me neither. And then we became best friends. And we like traveled Europe together. And I made very, very strong friendships there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say she wasn't hitting on you, was she?
In a friendship way.
In a friendship way. Wonderful. Wonderful. So you developed strong bonds then with girls, with women that you now are still friends with. And are they at all professional artists, any of them?
I have a lot of friends who are professional artists. Yeah. Some of them they have side hustles and they kind of weave in and out of it. And I think there are so many ways to be a professional artist. So I definitely have a lot of art friends doing funky things.
And from there, you went on to Concordia University, double majored, fine arts, drawing. You clearly had your pathway set at this point. What were you hoping that that would enable you to do once you graduate? And did you think at that point, okay, this is my journey and I'm going to become professional and actually make money when I graduate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I had, not that I was fear driven, but I think I was very like control driven at that time because I was young and I had a lot to prove. I mean, no, let me say that differently. Like I felt like I had a lot to prove. And yeah, I was, pursuing academia and I was very intense about my grades. But on the side, my mom was driving me around to galleries so that I could pitch all the galleries. I was like, no problem. Like I'll just pitch every single gallery in the whole city. And if I do that, then one of them will say yes. And I really only need one. And that is a sure way to success. Like I'll just do this until somebody doesn't say no. And it wasn't about money. It was just about, I was like really fired up at that time to make this happen. And, I had no pride, in the best way. Like I was just willing to put myself out there. And I did get into, a great gallery that I loved and gave me really like a great start. So I always had that kind of like hustle in me.
Super ambitious then. Determined.
Super ambitious. I'm moving in a new way now. I think I took my ambition to its height, to its maximum height. I think I'm, learning some different lessons now, but I think at that time, very ambitious.
Is it because now, Erin, you feel like you've really established yourself as a professional artist? You don't have to prove anything to anybody, your parents, your family, your peers, your audience. You feel secure and established as a professional.
I do. I don't know if that's why. I think if you're on this track, like you don't really ever get to a point where you're like, oh, I did it. Now I can relax. Like, I think I would just find something else, to move toward. I think I'm more just have reached something in myself where the climb is not appealing anymore in terms of a vehicle for growth. And I can see that, like, I'm happy with what I've built. I can see that climb doesn't end ever. And I more want to now expand rather than grow, which, just to make that sound less vague, means that I think I've built something creatively that is great and I'm so happy with it. And now, like, I want to build from it and not for it. Like, I think I have a lot of creativity that I can share in a more inspiration way, in a more connection way, rather than selling pieces of art, which I will still do. I have this business that runs beautifully. So I'm growing in a different way now.
Like, you've built your house, now you just want to fill out the rooms with your art.
I've built the house. It's not just about filling the rooms, but now I want to, I don't know how to take this analogy there, but I want to inspire other people now to live their lives in an artistic way, rather than just, like, buying my art to put in their houses, which I would still love if they would do. But to me, my gift is so much, like, bigger than that. And it's something around, like, human connection and, like, lifestyle design, but more just, like, inspiring outward. I feel like, I could take it there. I'm still working on what that means. I've written a book that I'm working on getting published. I, have some speaking engagements and doing things like this. There's something around, like, a teaching and nourishing direction where my art just wants to expand rather than climb.
Right. Well, you have a very comprehensive education yourself. After Concordia, you went on to Western to get a master's in art history. So it sounds as if you have a very well-rounded education in your chosen field as well, which would set you up for teaching very nicely.
I think so. And I don't even think it's because of that. I know my art for sure. But I love school. I could have done school forever, practical things, not prevented that path, but I did my path. I'm happy with it, but I really, if there were 10 of me, one of them would have just stayed in school. But, when I was at Western, I was a TA and I had a class to myself.
TA being?
Oh, sorry, a teacher's assistant. And they basically, in some cases you're kind of like an assistant to the teacher, but in some cases they actually hand you a class and they give you a topic and you can teach the whole class. You're grading, you're reading essays and grading papers. You're effectively, you're like a professor, but you're not, because you haven't, earned that. But this is while you're getting your master's, you also get to be a TA.
Okay.
You get paid some, like, a very nominal thing for doing that, which was so exciting to me because I had never, like, gotten really paid anything before. I was still in school. But I got to lead this course on basically, like, what is art? Like, it was so, it was such a blank slate, and they gave, like, a vague subject matter, but you could really, like, you could do what you wanted with these students. And I loved it. Like, I really, like, came alive in that class. I felt like I could connect with the class. I felt like I made that fun for them, and it felt like parenting a little bit, how I enjoy parenting. Like, it feels very intuitive for me to watch other people come alive and have, watch dots connecting and getting curious with them and doing this with them just felt amazing.
What were you drawing and painting back then, and what mediums were you using right at the beginning of your career? Then when you graduated and you were actually selling art, you found your gallery. What were your mediums? And was it always food and fashion?
No. I was always a drawer. So a draftsman. So I never had painted until I was 17. I did watercolor. which is considered to be in the drawing category because it's so... And the way that I paint now, I would say is also in the drawing category because I really do it like my brushes, looking for a brush, but my brushes are very small, like a pencil almost. So I was drawing and I was focused on figurative pieces and drawing the human form. And at that time, I was working on a series called Two Solitudes, where I would draw two people sitting together that didn't know each other, but that had like a connection in the moment. And it was something around like being present together, but, you know, being completely individuated also to the point where they have no interaction. And I did a number of those pieces. They were hard to move because figurative pieces in general are very hard to move. People don't want, this is a total generalization, but in my experience, it was hard to put a painting of like strangers on people's walls. Like what I paint now is so like universally relatable. But those paintings were very important to me. And all my early drawings were all the human form.
Who were your early influences? And in terms of artists, who were you paying attention to when you were in your youth, in your first impressions? Well,
my grandfather's paintings were all around the house, and he painted people and, you know, elderly people specifically, which is also what I was doing a lot. So I think he was really like my earliest inspiration, and I think his art is imprinted on me. And same with my mom, like a lot of figurative work and like still life work. But in terms of other artists, I loved and still love Magritte. I was always like fascinated with Magritte. Just the way that he used, I don't know if you would call it hyperrealism, but that's the way that I viewed it. Like he used certainly like a realistic style of rendering to portray these like totally imaginative worlds. It was sort of like fantasy meets reality. And his way of rendering those worlds was very close to the way that I painted. And there was something so like silly and inexplicably weird about those pieces. And if you read anything about him, like he just says like, if you ask him what this is about, he's like, I don't know. Like, I just love that. He just put it to the viewer, and I'm not going to explain this to you because it's none of your business, and your interpretation of it is none of my business. And I love that.
If you could have, say, one piece of art, of someone else's art, maybe a famous piece, what would that be?
Oh my God. I love Gerhard Richter. I'll definitely think of like 5 answers after this is over, but there's so many. I love that one because I love how it's like organized chaos. There's something about that like really speaks to me. And I really love Munch. Like I love like portraits of tortured people that are kind of just or not even tortured, but just honest. I find his work is so honest, and it really it evokes, you know, something every time I see it. It's just so, in a world where everyone is so I don't want to say phony, but I think in a world where everybody is so, you know, in the process of their day and like, oh, hey, how are you? Like I just find his work just takes a pause, and it just like looks right at you and is so unapologetically still, and there's no like pressure to be upbeat or to be any kind of way. So yeah, I think
superficial.
Any of those.
Yeah. Beyond the superficial.
yeah, it's just so direct.
Yeah. What do you like to hear people say about your work? If you were eavesdropping in a gallery?
Wow, you have good questions. These are good. What do I like to hear? I mean, I think I just really like hearing that my work moves people. I don't think there's any specific compliment or like quality that I'm looking for from other people. Honestly, I think I make the art because I want to make it. It fulfills something for me. And I think in a Magritte kind of way, like I want to share it. I think it's my artistic responsibility to share it. Like there's something that feels important for me to like release it. But I think once other people have it, it feels like none of my business. So I think as long as it is moving them and doing something for them, then that's what I like to hear. And that's what I hear a lot, which lets me know I'm on the right track.
So that is your validation then, is it? Or is it when you step back from a piece that you think is finished?
My validation is internal. I think there's a lot of validation that I've gotten from the sales that I've had, and there have been a lot, and I'm so lucky. And maybe lucky is not the word. I've worked really hard for this, and it's worked out. So I'm blessed, however you want to put it. I'm so grateful for it. And I get a lot of external validation, which is deeply satisfying on an ego level, you know? That's what I'll say, which is fine because I'm human. We all have egos, so it's fun. I would put that validation in like the fun category, like doing a show and like having a sold out drop or whatever. These are all like super fun things. But my actual validation is just comes from the inside and from like making work that feeds me.
So when you feel you've finished a piece and you stand back and you can wrap it for the day, do you call Sam in, your husband, and get his take on it to give you that sort of comfort that you got it to the place where you feel you need and get his first reaction to it?
No.
Never?
Sometimes it's not like that. It's never like, I'm pretty sure every artist will say this. It's never like done, you know, like it's never like that. It's like, oh, I can't do this anymore. There's usually some like frustration and then I'll kind of, maybe I'll go to bed and I'll come back and be like, oh my God, this is really good. I think I could always keep working on a piece. Like there's not really an end point ever.
Really?
It's just when
you don't feel I've got to stand back from it now. I've been tweaking and tweaking. I've got to stand back.
I do. I know when to stop tweaking, but I know I could always keep tweaking. So there's never that like, I'm finished. It's more just like a soft giving up point that then later softly turns into a doneness. And I know it's done. Sometimes, you know, if someone walks into my studio, I'll be like, does this look done? And they're always like, yeah. But they'll often say that when it's like this ice cream is like not done. It's like in the very beginning stages. So, you know, nobody else can really like do that for me. Like I know when I have nothing else to give, and that's when I'm done.
Is that then an euphoric moment for you?
No.
When does euphoria come in?
I think I just really enjoy the process of, I don't think there's one huge moment of euphoria. I think I just have them flow in and out of my process, which is like sometimes, you know, I'll have a big moment when I like decide what to paint. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to paint this or I'm going to die. Like, I would say that's a euphoric moment. And then I'll start the painting and I'll see it come to life, and that's exciting. And then it'll be like, oh my God, I hate this. This is so bad. And I'm awful. And what am I doing with my life? And all this. I push through that. I do this all the time. So I know the cycles now. And it's nice because I can help my kids move through those as well, because they're just cycles and phases of humanness, you know? So I'll go through that. Then it becomes boring. I'm like, what am I even doing? Maybe I should start something else. And then I start putting in, you know, the details, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then, you know, and then I'm done. And then maybe I get excited again once I see it the next day. And then I get very excited when, you know, the buyer will receive it and they have a big response, because I can watch or hear about later, like their reaction to it and their own connection with the piece. And I feel like I've, you know, birthed something that can like now go live in the world without me. And that's really nice. So I think it flows in and out.
What's your family? With so many artists in the family, your parents, grandfather, what's their reaction to your art and how you've become so established as an artist now, Erin?
Well, I think they're very proud of it. They've always been very supportive, like hugely supportive, to their credit. And I think they saw that I was going to do it. And I don't really stop until I'm very stubborn. This is where my stubbornness, you know, is handy. And I think they're very happy for me. Like, I think there have been moments where they're like, what are you doing? Just as and my team, you know, my team knows me. People that know me know this about me. Like, there are always moments where they're like, what are you doing? Like, don't worry. It'll all make sense later. So I think I have a huge trust in myself, and I think people around me have just like come to develop a trust because it's there and because I always bring it home, you know, in some way. So I think they're enjoying the ride.
You referred a couple of times to your team. Who's your team?
I have a bunch of people working with me who just, I could never do this without. I think I started expanding around COVID, like around 2020, like things started getting big, and I could see like I couldn't do this, you know, at the scale I wanted without some help. I needed like 10 of me, and I had to be very strategic about like what could be duplicated and what couldn't. Like, there are areas of the business where like I need to be the one. So figuring out where that needs to happen and where I don't need to be involved. Like, I think I'm pretty, well, some people will laugh at this, but I'm pretty good at stepping back in areas where I don't need to be involved, as long as I have a trusted, you know, team member that can like handle things. So it's taken some years to find the right people and find the right management style and learning how to employ people and learning. It's been a bit of a shit show, honestly, as all good things are in the beginning. And I've just really found my people. So, you know, there's a lot that people don't see behind the scenes, like, you know, just like the back end of my website and like how everything gets fulfilled seamlessly. And everyone on my team is a perfectionist, like myself, which gives me so much peace because, you know, I'm, first of all, just like knowing I'm not alone, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of psychopaths just like myself who are like looking at things with a literal magnifying glass. And yeah, we're just very supportive of each other, and I'm lucky.
And so you've got people doing the marketing, as you say, your website, and fulfillment, the shipping and that kind of thing, and promotional work and managing your gallery. How many galleries are you showing in?
None right now. proudly, happily. I was in the gallery system for a long time, and that was amazing. I was in at one point, I think 9 galleries throughout different parts of the world, and that was a great thing at that time. Around COVID, when the galleries shut down, I really panicked, and I withdrew from the galleries because I had to, because they weren't open. And I started really focusing on my website and how I could be more self-led, which I might not have done if not for COVID. And it just gave me this sovereignty that I don't think I would have realized. And it just works so well for me. Now I feel like I have no, I want to say I have no desire to work with galleries anymore, but we'll see. Life is long. But yeah, it's all self-led and everything's through my website now.
You mentioned earlier that you're writing a book. Are you going to tell us what it's about? And is that the secret writer in you, or someone who has more ambitions as an author?
Can you repeat your question? Is that the secret writer in me?
Yes. Is it a secret writer in you, or is there someone who has ambitions to be an author? This is an important part of your development.
I always have been a writer. I think it's to me like the exact same kind of medium, a different medium for the same creativity. I've always loved writing, and I actually went into art history for that reason, because the painting programs that at Dawson Concordia, you're very much in the studio, and it's very very embodied work. You're really like brush to canvas. I loved writing papers. I love academia. Give me a topic, I'll like research and write the hell out of it. I love like analyzing things, and I'm very cerebral. So I for that reason went into art history, but then I missed the painting too much. So I've always, I think Instagram really, like, for a long time channeled my creativity into writing, because I could write these like lengthy captions that people responded to in real time. But then the book really seemed to want to come out of me, and it's called Watch Me. And it's about the creative journey and how to kind of make life of your art and not take no for an answer. So it's like a little bit memoir, a little bit like creative manifesto, kind of like a how-to guide, to be unfuckwithable.
This sounds like Hold My Beer.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, Watch Me. Yeah. I'm curious. I have other questions for you, but we're running out of time here, Erin. So I'm going to come to the fun part of the show here, where we talk about, because food being, the background to your life and why you love painting, drawing food, but also cooking food as well. So we're going to find out who your dinner guests would be and what they would eat.
Oh, and what they would eat.
Oh, yes. Well, now that you're telling me, I think we need to know what cuisine you were going to offer them too.
Okay.
And would you cater? Well, would you cook?
Oh no, I wouldn't. Well, I'm just thinking. When I cater things, here's what I loved. I love to cook, but I also love to order in, but cook, like half order in from all different places. And then, I love a well curated table. So I love to like create kind of the aesthetic of a feast. And I think there's something really decadent feeling about ordering in from multiple places and having some of it be cooked and then having it be served on like platters. And it also takes the pressure off of me making everything, because I just don't have any, there's something martyring about that, and I don't have any desire to torture myself. And I like to have fun. I like to be one of the guests. And because of that, I host a lot.
So is this kitchen setup or dining table? It's formal dining table?
It would be a dining table.
Okay.
but like casual and like fun. Right. And like just food on the table, like family style. I like family style, like a nice grazing, like I love charcuterie boards and like, just grazing of like maybe like a plate of oysters, maybe like a steak board. Like I like a grazing table where people feel well taken care of, but like casual and kind of like flexible. That's my hosting style.
Okay.
And like wine in the glass is like, I like a fun time. My guests would be Picasso.
Okay.
I wrote my thesis on him. And I just am fascinated by Picasso. Catherine O'Hara, sadly. Cheryl Strayed, Ram Dass, Bob Dylan, and Princess Diana.
This is a very interesting mix. Now, who's going to sit either side of you?
Oh, I'd love Catherine next to me. And Princess Diana, flanked by two women.
What questions do you have for Princess Diana?
I haven't thought about it. I don't think it would be specific questions. I just find her to be a fascinating person and a very like mysterious and interesting and powerful person that I would just like to like absorb.
Tell us about the other guests for people that may not be familiar with who they are. Obviously, they know Princess Diana, they know Picasso and Catherine O'Hara.
I mean, Cheryl Strayed wrote Wild. I just think like her, I don't actually think she coined the term unfuckwithable, but she definitely gave it the meaning that I think like put it out there culturally for what it is now. And I just think she's a really like inspirational person that's also very like grounded and relatable. Ram Dass for his, spirituality and, also like the creative way that he would think. Dylan, Picasso. I think people know. And I think, people can, there are so many reasons to be fascinated by all these people that, I think everyone would have their own reason, but I just like to observe people and how we're all so different, but also we're all so much the same. Yeah, I just think it would be like a fascinating group.
I'm wondering what kind of conversations you're hoping your guests to get into and who might be talking to who about whatever.
I hosted, like a couple months ago, I hosted Dinner with Strangers for the first time in Toronto, where I invited, I'm trying to think how, I think it was seven or eight. I invited 8 guests for dinner who didn't know each other, and I didn't know any of them. But I asked them just to reach out, and I just went purely off intuition. So some of them sent me like, hey, here's a bit about me. Some of them were just like, I'd love to attend. And I just, tried to feel into the energy behind their outreach. And I put together a group of people, and I was just really open, and the conversation flowed so beautifully. And I think everyone was really moved, but I had no expectations of what the conversation would be. And I didn't have like cue cards, and I was like, if this is so awkward, then that will be fascinating. Mm-hmm. So I think in the same way, like, I don't know. I think you put people together, it's bound to be fascinating. I think when we over curate things, we take the art out of it. So for that reason, like, I don't know. I think it would just unfold, I'm
sure it would. A very interesting mix. Well, finally, Erin, before I let you go, what are you looking forward to in 2026?
I'm looking forward to the unknown. And I just feel this like quiet power in me that is going somewhere, and I'm really listening. Like, I think this is one of the first years I'm not building. I feel very satisfied with what I've built. But I am expanding, and I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think I'm going to listen in and I'm going to engage, and I think it's going to be really powerful. So I'm just looking forward to letting, the universe do its thing on me, and I am ready to respond.
You're just going for the ride now.
Mm-hmm. I'm going for the ride, but I'm I'm ready and willing to participate. So I'm just, I'm looking forward to seeing my own creative energy and where it wants to go.
Let everybody know how they can find your work, Erin, online.
You can find my work at erinrothstein.com, ErinRothstein.com, and on Instagram at Erin Rothstein, which is where I post most often, and that also links to my website. And those are the ways.
And you can find us on Instagram as well at the AART Podcast. Don't forget that's 2 A's. If you're watching us, if you're listening to us on a podcast app, don't forget we are on YouTube as well. So the entire show now has been recorded on YouTube if you happen to be listening to us in your car or cooking or whatever you may be doing on your podcast app. So you can actually watch Erin. You can watch our guests as well. And do give us a follow and send us any suggestions you may have for guests. We always love to hear from you. Our email address is theartpodcast@gmail.com. Well, my thanks again to my guest this week, Erin Rothstein, and to you for listening. I will be back in 2 weeks' time with another guest from the world of visual arts. But for now, my thanks again to you, Erin. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun. I appreciate it.